drunk, Steve.
Okay,
moving on. We only have so much time. We can't infinitely talk about Quan Alexander. We got to move on. We have other questions.
It's possible he doesn't even make the Jets.
Yeah, you keep saying that, but we're not talking about that anymore. We're talking about Murtis Lockett. She has a question.
Okay.
She even tagged it. She even put a header in there. It says mailbag question. What a champ. Could Taysom Hill be the Saints MVP at the end of the season if he remains healthy? Yes, he could be. And the reason is we have not seen Taysom in this do-it-all role since, 2018? Since he was blocking a punt, running for a touchdown, catching a touchdown against the Falcons on Thanksgiving. That's really the last time we saw do-it-all Taysom, when he came in against the Vikings and was the unstoppable player in the playoffs. And then they gave Drew Brees the ball and he fumbled immediately. That's the last time we saw Taysom Hill in this Swiss Army knife role. And I'm excited about it. I think that's what really got me excited about Taysom Hill. It wasn't him being a quarterback. I understand why he wanted to get his shot. I understand why Sean felt obligated to give him that opportunity, but that is just not what makes Taysom special. And what makes Taysom special is doing things that you can't defend and making the defense uncomfortable at all times. And if he's healthy and he's able to get through the season, yes, he could be he could score 10 to 12 touchdowns in the right circumstances. I think he is going to be a player that we're talking about by the end of the season as a fantasy dynamo, because he's scoring week after week after week. He's not going to put up the crazy yardage numbers, but he's gonna vulture touchdowns like an animal, and I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully, he can get back on the field.
I feel like we're turning into a Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp or whoever kind of show, because you're like on the whole positive end of the spectrum here.
I'm a positive guy.
And I guess I'm taking more of the negative approach, because I'm more concerned about the age and the injury history of Taysom. We just got him back from the Liz Frank injury, and everyone was happy for the start of camp. And then, boom, the next day we found out he's got a rib injury. And it's great seeing him working off to the side, but another guy that I'm kind of I wanted to see him in action in training camp and back in this Swiss Army knife role, back as this contributor on special teams and not with the red practice jersey on, focusing on quarterback. But yeah, the injury history, that's the big one right there. If he remains healthy is the huge question mark right there, just because of what we've seen with him in the past. And we know even his had a history of concussions as well. Hopefully, he can stay on the field this year. I'm not obviously wishing anything against Taysom. I just worry about a 32-year-old being able to last in this league, considering the injury history he's had already. And we didn't even get started, and he already busted his ribs.
Yes, but again, as I pointed out, I think that was more about Taysom.
What?
I genuinely think what happened with this rib injury is Taysom forgot that he's allowed to get hit now, right? And
we weren't even in full pads.
But if they were wearing pads, he wouldn't have got a rib injury, because his ribs would have been protected by the pads. That's what I'm saying. I think he'll be fine. I'm more worried about his foot. I'm worried about his head. His ribs, he only needs, you have so many. You don't need them all. I just think that Taysom Hill, when used in the correct way, when used in the way that he was initially deployed by the Saints, is an unstoppable force. And if you're going to do it the right way, and the question was, can he be the Saints MVP? And I'm telling you, if Taysom Hill, has 500 yards receiving, 200, 300 yards rushing, and scores 8-9 touchdowns, which I think is reasonable if he's deployed in the way that he should be deployed, which is, QB power in the red zone. Just a guy who's going to get rushing attempts. He's going to line up in the backfield. He's going to line up all over the formation. Play 17 games. Maybe 15 probably. He's going to get hurt at some point. He always does. I think
you could put him in it.
I'm not saying he necessarily will be
pump block, field goal block. Obviously, can.
Well, right. And you're also talking about the 8-9 touchdowns might be unrealistic, but I'm saying he's going to get touchdowns.
I don't think that 8-9 is unrealistic at all for Taysom. Back in that role of being the Swiss Army knife, especially that
and if he
QB
blocks
power
punts,
in the red zone is almost unstoppable.
I love Taysom, and I've always been a huge fan of Taysom. I never wanted him to be the starting quarterback, but I'm just such a huge fan of like how hard he plays and the fact that he's willing to do anything. And so that's to me most valuable player. We're not talking about the best player in the world. We're talking about the most valuable player. I think he could be that. Okay, you disagree, and that's fine. You're wrong. We'll move on.
Next.